Can I do one of my impressions for the intro?
Okay.
Who do you think this is? All right, my little possums, how are we? Welcome to the Failing Writers podcast in association with Scrivener. Amazing, really, that anyone would want to associate themselves with those fellas.
Yeah, I mean, a bit harsh, but no, that wasn't a bad Dame Edna.
No, it's Madge Bishop from Neighbours.
Yeah, of course it was. Welcome to the Failing Writers podcast, sponsored by Scrivener. My name's John, and this great big beautiful bear of a man is Tom.
Indeed. Hello. Now, our mission is kind of to look at writing from every possible angle, really, in order to try and improve our craft, learn more about the secret inner workings of the various writing industries.
Yeah, and I suppose with the ultimate objective of maybe one day finally getting to the stage where we can legitimately change the name of this podcast.
Yeah, right. Brilliant. Good one, John. Good one. But yeah, first we should probably mention a quick bit about our beautiful sponsor, Scrivener.
We should. If you haven't tried the wonderful writing software Scrivener, then you should.
Then get out. You're not welcome.
Yeah.
Off.
Out.
Go on. Shoo. Because you get a free trial, can't you? So there's no reason not to try it.
There's no excuse. There's literally no excuse. There's a 30-day free trial at literatureandlatte.com, or even better, just bite the bullet now. Get yourself a copy with our 20% off code. What is that code, Tom?
The code is failing.
Of course it is, but obviously in an ironic sense, because your chances of success will be much higher, obviously.
Yeah, it's completely ironic. Yeah, totally.
So I think we've done our little bit of duty there, haven't we?
Yeah, thank you, Scrivener. Great sponsors. Best sponsors we've ever had, I would say.
Definitely.
I think they are.
Definitely.
Don't you have an exciting announcement snuggled away in your announcement pocket, John?
I have actually, Tom. Let me just have a little look. Let's get it out. So, yes, we do have an exciting announcement, don't we, Tommy?
Some of you will remember very, very, very fondly our feature that we used to do where we invited you lot, our gorgeous listeners, to send in your works in progress, which then we read and turned into little audio productions and plays, and we had a chat about them and said why we liked them or what audaciously what we thought might be improved. We're giving I don't know. Why did we do that? That was a weird thing to do, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Why did people listen?
That.
People thanked us for that feedback. Crazy. Crazy.
Well, we are going to kick off a similar but slightly different feature. It's different. This time, we just want any writing that you've done that you're really proud of.
Yeah, because last time we definitely focused on that kind of work in progress, what you're working on, how can we take it forward, where's it going to end up. But this could be anything. This could be, I don't know, a piece of flash fiction that you wrote and you think, that was brilliant, and you sent it off somewhere but it never got published or didn't win anything, and you just want to share it and let it see the light of day. That'd be great.
Yeah, or maybe it's a book that you self-published with a cracking first chapter.
Yeah, and you feel like no one's really heard it, or it didn't sell 1 million copies in the first week or whatever. Yeah. Or it could be anything. A poem you wrote while you were busy drinking a bottle of wine or something, and you, I don't know, woke up in the morning and thought, oh, that's quite good, that, actually. Maybe shouldn't have written it in blood on my wall, but, other than that, it's quite impressive.
Or what about like a comedy sketch that you quite proud
could be.
of, but nobody bothered commissioning?
That'd be good. I'd like that. That'd be good for us to do, wouldn't it?
That would be fun. I'd like that.
Act out. That'd be fun. So yeah, anything. A ghost story that you wrote it and you thought, oh, that has properly spooked me out.
Or a funny article you wrote for the local paper.
Could be a book you started writing but never finished, but maybe it's got lots of potential in that first bit. It's good premise, good setup.
Yeah, or maybe, Tommy, it's just a letter to your teenage son explaining why wet towels don't belong on the floor.
That's impossible. That couldn't be done. That couldn't be explained or received in any way. That would be an amazing piece of writing if it actually communicated.
Wouldn't it?
So yeah, it could be literally anything. As long as it's a bit of writing and you're dead chuffed with it, then that's good enough for us.
Yeah. So send it over to failingwriterspodcast@gmail.com right now, and if we love it too, that your writing could feature on the podcast.
Absolutely, because hey, who doesn't deserve a bit of a big up? And you do, don't you, for writing that stuff?
Put the work in. You deserve some plaudits. And as we know, in the writing arena, there aren't nearly enough plaudits.
There aren't. There really aren't, are there? There's a dearth of plaudits. It's, I think.
What?
I think it's time for a plaudit audit.
It is, Tommy.
Isn't it?
Definitely is.
And you know what's special this time? We've actually got an established static name for our new feature.
What? That is not like us.
No, because last time we kind of it kind of changed as we went along, didn't we? We never really settled on anything, so we just kind of played around.
We like to deliberately confuse people by renaming our features every week, don't we?
But not this time. This time we are calling the feature Hype Writer.
Because that's what we're going to be doing, innit? We're going to be hyping up writers left, right, and bloody centre.
And it sounds like typewriter, doesn't it? So
it does, yeah. It's like it's almost like a little pun, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Very clever. Well done, John. You came up with that.
I did, yeah.
So yeah, obviously the sooner you send us some of your lovely words, the quicker we can get going and the better chance you have of being featured. Because last time we didn't get round to everyone because we did actually have lots of people send stuff in. So get it over now. The details are in the show notes and what have you, or you can find the blog. Someone might actually write a blog at failingwriterspodcast.com.
They might do.
Every couple of years it does happen. But you don't even need to do that. You can just get what you've got, that thing that you've been sat on that you think, oh, God, people should hear this, and send it to failingwriterspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. And that'll make us very happy.
Yeah.
And we can start our little feature.
Yeah, you could be our first hype writer.
Yeah, it could even be in the next episode. Who knows?
We don't know, do we?
Right. That's another thing out of the way, Tom.
Yeah.
Presumably we have got something next. That's not the end of the podcast.
That's not the end of the podcast. No, John,
great.
As you remember, a short while back, we spoke to Jessica Knappett.
Jessica Knappett, the amazing, hilarious TV personality, actor and writer.
Yeah, recently she's been on piles of things like Taskmaster, 8 out of 10 Cats Do Countdown, all that kind of stuff.
Travel Man.
Yeah.
She's been on all the shows.
Go back a bit further, and she wrote Drifters.
She did, the sitcom Drifters.
But loads of stuff. Anyway, we have a good old chat with her. And do you know what I think's interesting about this interview, John, is that Jessica was very honest about talking about her, not failures, but like dips, and it was one of the ones that really spelt out that you can have like a big hit and hit the big time if you like, but there's no guarantee that you still got to strive, and you're still trying to break through, and you're still trying to get your stuff heard, in my view.
Yeah.
It's not like a golden ticket, is it? Oh, there you go, you've had your thing on TV. Off you go then.
And she's wonderfully honest as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're going to hear all this.
Yeah.
So let's crack on with it. It really is lovely of you to join us.
Well, thank you for inviting me, John. It's really kind of you.
The pleasure's mine, Tom. No, Jessica, it's lovely of you to come and embrace the failing writer that lives deep down within us all.
Not that deep for me, to be honest.
Is it not? Well, I was going to ask you, when was the last time that you felt like you might qualify as a failing writer? I'm assuming that was quite a long time ago now.
No. I mean, so much of writing. I mean, look, the truth is, I made Drifters when I was very young, which was my first sitcom. And since that show finished, although I have had what would be classed as a successful writing career and been paid to write for 9 years, I've also been in development trying to get my own original sitcoms and dramas made for 9 years.
Wow. Despite a successful sitcom being greenlit and 4 series of it. Wow.
And this week, I actually am finally out of development. And I don't know when this comes out. It might be that it will all become clear, but I annoyingly can't really talk about it. But it's just this sort of, finally, this moment has happened. And so I suppose the thing is, I have been quite close to kind of giving up for 9 years.
But now you're a massive success.
But now I'm a massive success.
You've literally... We've caught you at completely the wrong time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, also, I don't believe anything, so, you know, call me
it could
next
all
week.
go tits up, couldn't it?
It might have all gone away again.
Oh, completely.
But currently, today, it feels like...
As it stands.
Things are on the up. And I talk about this with my writer friends all the time, is actually the only thing you really need is just a bit of hope.
I think that's true, a bit of naivety.
Yeah.
Almost like a bit of stupidity is quite good.
It can be stupidity, but I also think even if it's just a whiff of hope, just someone being interested in it is all it takes, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Even just a whiff of hope, even if you realise slightly later on that whiff wasn't in fact hope. It was a whiff of something
It wasn't
else.
hope,
it
something
definitely wasn't
it was a whiff
hope,
of
but
something
it did
else.
whiff. Yeah, so it's there too.
Yeah.
Is the thing you've had that's hopefully touch wood going forward, is that one thing you've been working on and pushing, or have you been trying to get back through the door with different things over those years? Or
actually, weirdly, it sort of has happened quite quickly. And I've also heard this. I've heard other writers say that sometimes when something hits, it's like there's a sort of alchemy to it. And I've always believed that you have to have this perfect alignment of things.
Yeah.
Which is that not only do you really want to make it and believe in it, but somehow the people that can make it also really want to make it.
Yes, it's almost if they've been having a production meeting or something that morning going, you know what we need? We need this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then your thing lands on the desk and you go, oh my God, that's it.
Exactly.
Full steam ahead.
And I have had that a couple of times. I mean, this is a mad example, and I don't think that. I have to be careful how I come across saying this, but I did come really close to getting something away that was in the food space. It was in the restaurant space.
All right.
To Hulu, but they were saying, we just really want to make something about restaurants. And I had a script about restaurants, and I was like, these guys they actually mean this. They really want to make it. And for one reason or another, we couldn't get it over the line because it was set in Yorkshire and they wanted it to be set in America. And there was lots of other reasons. It was just, anyway. But then the next thing you know, like, they basically just went on to make The Bear. So they weren't lying about wanting to make something in the restaurant. And I did think that, like, I'm not saying that I am as good as the writers of The Bear, and if it had been for, you know what I mean? But it was an example of, like, they weren't lying. Like, they really were actively looking for that sort of thing. I probably should be careful what I say about these people, shouldn't I?
Yeah. I love to think that it was completely parallel, though, and do you mean it was just like some little chip shop in Yorkshire?
Yeah. But actually, it's sort of mad how these things can just, and that's not to say that, like, then I would have been the next creator of The Bear. I'm not trying to say that, but I am.
Kind of
I suppose
saying that, aren't it? Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, to be clear,
yeah.
to be absolutely clear. What I'm saying is occasionally you will find that people are actively looking for something and you just get lucky, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, it's that thing, isn't it? You say lucky, but you have to be there with something in your hand to actually offer.
Well, that's what happened with Drifters.
Yeah, you've got to have done the hard work in the first place to be lucky.
Yeah, definitely. And Drifters came at a time when they were looking for a female Inbetweeners. And I had just happened to have written something that was about my sort of post-university days, and it was exactly what they were looking for. In a way, it was difficult because it was a shadow that I was then in for the early stages of my career. But then also I was incredibly lucky, and yeah, so there was some luck there for sure.
That's interesting. Yeah, Tom and I wrote a sitcom together and pitched it.
Did you write the female Inbetweeners?
We didn't, no. We probably should have tried to do that. So we pitched it to a commissioner on the podcast. And one of the things he said was that a commissioner will always be looking at what the market needs, you know, what that particular channel needs and what gap it's trying to fill, especially when another sitcom finishes. And that's interesting. I think that's actually quite a good thing to hold in your mind. Although at the same time, I suppose you weren't doing that. You were just writing, presumably, about your experience and not worrying about all of that stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about that at all. I didn't have that sort of.
I'm going to step into
I just didn't have that, and I didn't have any understanding of the industry at that point, really. Well, actually, that's not entirely true, because by the time I got Drifters, I had actually been working in the TV industry for nearly 10 years, which is mad, because I started as a runner when I was 18 years old.
Okay.
So I'd had loads of different jobs in production, and like I'd worked as a runner on a DIY show, and then I ended up working on a film, and then I worked in development. I was a script reader at the BBC. I worked on Johnny Vegas's Ideal. There was a show called Ideal that was shot in Manchester. So I had actually seen the mechanism of it, I suppose, like the mechanics of it. And I suppose I had learned a lot about, mainly what I'd learned about is how people just slag things off. Yeah, that a script will come in and they will just rip it apart, or a TV show will get made and they'll rip it apart, even though like loads of people they know, it was just like, God, it is brutal, and it is so hard to please these people.
It's amazing that didn't put you off, Jess.
What was amazing was the experience of being a script reader.
Yeah.
And I had absolutely no business being a script reader at that point. like how they gave me that job. I mean, at that point, I was in a sketch group, so I suppose they were like, well, I don't know if she's funny, but she thinks she's funny, so let's give her some scripts to read. Really, it was just like a job that no one in the office wanted to do. Let's just give it to the most junior person in the room.
Do you think you learned a lot doing it?
Well, yeah. The most important thing I learned was, oh my God, most of these scripts are absolute utter dog shit. I mean, so bad. I'm sorry.
And most of these, have they come through agents, or are they just like unsolicited?
No, these were unsolicited that had been sent in paper form.
Right.
And then I had to write reports on them all, which basically was just sort of like trying to find something nice to say about them. But that was helpful. I had to do a lot of reading. But the main thing that I learned, my main takeaway from that was they might not be very good, but they've fucking done it.
Yeah.
And that is the big difference between them and me right now. Because I'm sitting here with all these bitter producers who also have never written anything.
And did a lot of them want to write? They wanted to create a show?
Well, I think they all want to write, really.
I think we all do, don't we, secretly?
Well, we all do, because it's Ace.
I mean, you've kind of nailed straight into the heart of this podcast, really, with that kind of idea.
The bitterness, you mean, Tom?
The bitterness.
Just the bitterness of going, well, we could do better than that. And someone goes, well, why don't you? And go
on then.
Well, I haven't. So.
Well, because it's hard.
I haven't yet, but I could, probably. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But it is, the thing is, it's so hard to get it. Like when I look back on it now, I think I was so insanely lucky. And it was like, okay, I'd done 10 years of trying to like do everything I possibly could, like behind the scenes, being a runner, acting, sketch writing, live comedy. I remember at one point actually saying out loud, it's going to be a 3-pronged attack. I wanted so badly to work in comedy. It was pathetic. And I just did everything I possibly could. And somehow I managed to sort of wheedle my way in. Yeah. But by the time I got the Inbetweeners movie, amazingly, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm completely ready to write a sitcom now.
I know how this works now. Yeah.
I know what to do.
Take us back. So it's like, what would it be, 2012, 2013 or something? And how did it happen? Like presumably you got a message or a phone call from someone to say, okay, it's happening. Where are you at that moment? Talk us through. Well, let us relive it.
Yeah. You see, my friend Andy Milligan, is a writer called Andy Milligan, claims that he was there when it happened, and I got a text message.
Oh, yeah.
And he remembers it better than I do. He wrote Man Like Mobeen. He's a great guy. But I can't remember now, this is terrible, but I can't remember whether that was getting the series or getting the pilot, because I remember the pilot was actually, there's so much sales involved in writing. There was so much like hard selling that I had to do, like pitching and begging, meetings.
Are you quite good at that, begging?
Well, what I realised was like, basically Ian Morris and Damon Beasley, who wrote The Inbetweeners, did most of the talking for me. I wouldn't allow that now, no. But I was young and I didn't know what I was doing, and they're very noisy people, and really funny. So it just didn't really. And I just sort of sit in the meetings, kind of nodding along, and then they'd be like, "Tell them that story, but you were telling us about the guy you were on a date," and I'd just sort of like go, "Oh yeah," and sort of tell a story, and I guess what they wanted to see was that I was really living this life that I was writing about. Yeah, mainly it was sort of like having to go in and kind of perform as well. And then initially I'd submitted the pilot and we'd gone in for a meeting to get a yes or a no, basically. And what they'd said to me was, you are going to be told in this meeting, like, we're almost certain it's going to be a yes. And I was like, okay,
right.
God.
You got the nod almost before you.
And then they sat there and said, we're just not quite sure, really.
What? Okay.
And I was like, what? And then I felt my face going really red, and then I felt just like hot, salty tears welling in my eyes, and I cried in this meeting.
Oh, Jess.
But hey, that did the job then, I guess.
Well, because
that worked.
I was like, I don't know, I just thought that it was going to happen. And then I don't know what happened in between that meeting and the show going ahead, but somebody must have made some phone calls.
We feel so guilty.
Yeah. She's so pathetic. We should give her something.
She's so pathetic.
On, give her a series.
She's just cried. I don't know. So I guess that worked. Like that's the only bit that I can remember because it was so sad.
That's a top tip for people, though, isn't it? That's good. That
it is. Take note, listeners.
Yeah, you don't know how much it works to cry in meetings.
Yeah.
It was very messy, but eventually we found out that yes, it was going ahead.
It almost sounds like it happened in increment rather than, you know, you get the call saying, yes, it's definitely happening. It's a number of tiny steps where each one you're like, oh, maybe it is.
There's always so many unknowns as well. I mean, and that's sort of like the place I'm in now where they've said like, oh yeah, we're like 90% sure it's going to happen. So you're like, okay.
You're older and wiser now, and you know that's a big old 10%.
Yeah, it is really.
Yeah.
And then I'm also like, but like when you say it's going to happen, do you mean with me? Like, there are so many factors. Like, well, I don't know, you might just really like the idea and give it to someone else to make. Anything can happen. And I have, in a weird way, I reckon I've had sort of every crazy fail happen to me. Like the most extravagant, like I've had the Hollywood call, you know, we want you to write the movie, Jess, get over here.
Wow. And did you do that? Have you spent a bit of time stateside?
Oh, yeah. I wrote the prequel to a very popular franchise comedy musical series that I shall not name, movie series. And that was wild because that was a proper Hollywood, proper like go to Universal Studios, not the theme park, although I did accidentally go to the theme park once. Genuinely got dropped off in an Uber and I was like, this is the theme park and I've got to go to the theme studios.
It doesn't feel right.
Something about this. I had to get the toy train. I went honestly because on Google Maps. They're on the same compound.
Right, okay.
On Google Maps, it's the same. I understand why the Uber driver dropped me where he did. And then I got to I walked in, there was like genuinely like mascots everywhere and like candy floss and stuff. And I could see on Google Maps the dot was like there and I had to get through this metal fence. And so I asked a security guard if there's any way that I could just like get through that door. And he was like, are you crazy? And then, so basically long story short, I ended up having to get the toy train round to the TV studios and go on a TV studios tour to get to my meeting.
I mean, kind of cool as well.
I mean, I had to go through security and pay to get into a theme park and then have the ticket reimbursed.
Good material for a future sitcom episode.
It was pretty good material when I arrived at the meeting.
Yeah,
yeah.
But they didn't believe me.
A funny thing happened on the way to the meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
So was that the classic team of people sat round a table writing thing?
Didn't do room writing in LA. I wrote a movie on my own, which was a total disaster because, I mean, partly I would say because I just had a baby and I wasn't really in the right headspace. Like I had like a tiny baby.
I sympathise.
And I don't think I'd really understood how much I was going to be expected to work on this film. Like American style means all day, every day,
right,
and at the weekends, and you will answer the phone at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't think it was that important.
Well, it tends to put things in perspective, doesn't it, having a child, to be fair?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, the annoying thing is, if the kid had been a bit older, they would have enjoyed the toy train ride as well, wouldn't they?
They would, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. No, I just... No, I didn't do any room writing, but I have done room writing via Zoom in lockdown.
How did the movie thing end then? What's the end of something like that where it doesn't happen? Like, does everyone just stop and go home?
Well, I pulled the plug in the end because I think basically it was just getting completely out of hand, and they did this thing where they held me on treatment, so they didn't allow me to write the movie. So I just had to keep rewriting the treatment and repitching it and repitching
That's like
it.
A stage of hell, isn't it? That's like a...
It was like a sort of purgatory.
Yeah.
And I think I was on my 8th month of just being in the treatment stage. And of course they don't want to move you on because then they have to pay you. Because it's good money, but only if you actually are allowed to write it.
But this isn't collaborating either. This is just you.
This is just me. But they kept changing their mind about what they wanted it to be and who was going to be in it. And so it was basically just sort of like a page one rewrite every week. Wow. And it was just driving me mad. And then I think my last ever meeting, I mean, it was sort of like that classic thing of like, can it be set in space? It was so different. Like, it was such a different suggestion to the movie that I was writing. Let's say it was about a band. It was now about a sports team. And I just was like, I'm going to lose my mind. I choose my sanity.
Was there a point you were like, I've got to be quite careful here because I don't want to fall out of favour?
Yeah, I mean, I just had to fall out of favour.
Burn those bridges. We don't need those bridges.
Yeah, I did. By that point, I was like, I'm going to get the petrol out. Has anyone got a lighter?
There is a point in some stuff, isn't there, where you just think, I don't care anymore, actually. It just needs to stop.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that actually they're so well unionised there that I did manage to have some good conversations with people at the union who were like, this isn't on. It's very different with agents out there because agents really don't want to burn any bridges. So they are operating really on like the studio's behalf more than your behalf. And that was the other thing that was like, that was a whole learning curve for me because I was like, why are my agents making it so difficult for me? Because if I tell my UK agent that I don't want to do something, they're like, okay, that's fine. We just won't do it. But it was not the same. And the other thing was that I also had a pilot to write at the same time because I'd sold a pilot to FX, which was the thing that I really cared about. But I was also receiving notes from them. And actually, it's just on reflection, that's just a large volume of work I have to do in 1 year with a baby.
It is when you're by yourself doing it as well, where you've not... It's different if you're working in a team or as a pair or something where there's some kind of mechanism to bounce stuff off someone, but... Yeah, if you're kind of isolated doing it, then that is a lot.
Yeah, and I don't really work like that or want to work like that anymore. I think it's all right to get stuff out. Like this most recent thing I've been doing has been more collaborative. And I've been show running a room and we used a room to generate material and then I went away and wrote the pilot alone. But it's so nice to know that if it goes any further, I'll have all of those people to work with. I just think it's such a good way of doing things. I think a lot of the best stuff is written that way.
And did Drifters become more like that as it went along? Because I noticed on the writing credits, you got Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Emerald Fennell.
Some pretty big names.
I mean, obviously, they never went on to do anything.
No, they didn't. No, that was, that is it. Unfortunately, that's the trajectory. Write an episode of Drifters and then
it's annoying, isn't it?
You're gone.
But then you think they were cutting their teeth.
Well, they were. I mean, honestly, and with all respect to them, and they are dear friends. Like, it was actually hard for me to convince people to hire them at that time because they didn't have any credits then, and then they just did an absolutely insanely brilliant job. Both of them just wrote it basically overnight with their eyes closed. It was absolutely insane. Like also quite offensive because I was like, this takes me so long and you've just knocked this out. It's really annoying. But we didn't have a room. What happened on Drifters was we didn't have any time at all. It was so stressful because they would take ages to recommission a new series because they never really, I don't know, there was so much internal decision making going on. And then they'd suddenly be like, right, yeah, we do want one. Can you deliver that in 5 months? And then I'd like do the maths and be like, that's not even a month per episode.
Yeah.
Which, like, to actually physically write it, I can write an episode in like a few days. I can now. But there will be a rewrite. There will be notes. Like, with the best will in the world, you need longer than 3 weeks. So it was just really difficult. So then they were like, well, we'll get you some other writers. It's fine. But you've still got to write an outline and give that to it. That's the way I wanted to do it. You couldn't just say, oh, Lloyd Wolfe and Joe Tucker, can you just write an episode of Drifters?
Right. It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't really work like that. It's not their voice. You can't just expect someone to just come up, just pluck a show out of thin air. So I would write really detailed outlines and sometimes they would have dialogue in them. And like Phoebe, I remember her getting her episode and being like, what is it you want me to do? And I was like, just like write the dialogue of the episode. And she was like, is that all? And it's like, well, yeah, but I mean, that does take a bit of time, and then I've got to get on with the next outline for the next episode now. So it was sort of like this weird sausage factory.
Wow.
I suppose that's the problem, though, isn't it? When it's sort of that semi-autobiographical. What's the word? What's that
Autobiographical.
Word? That's the one. There was a little syllable in the middle.
You're missing a graph.
Yeah. When you write something that's about you, then you need to be constantly putting that input in. It's different, isn't it? If it's a sort of an old school sitcom that has, I don't know, Only Fools and Horses or something. You know what the crack is.
Once
and the
there's a
characters
sort of a formula.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think with most sitcoms, a bit of a formula does emerge, doesn't it, after a time?
Yeah.
And then, in theory, probably anyone could, not anyone.
Just anyone, just drag them off the street. Is that what
just
we do?
anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the interesting thing, because I do like the idea of that I write something and that there's a team of people who can, and that's like the American way, isn't it? But I'm not to slag it off. It was a great experience in many ways, and I learned so much doing it, but it didn't need to be as stressful as it was. It was just because our time was so limited. And I think what I'm trying to say was it was a bit of a shit show.
Do you think that's often the case when another season is commissioned? Is that quite normal in TV, do you think?
Well, I just don't know anymore, because I don't know what normal is. Honestly, I've had so many bizarre experiences on TV shows now that I'm like, I don't know what's normal. I think that generally they do take a while to make a decision, and then suddenly they'll just have to, there'll be a slot. Like when we were doing Avoidance and we found out we got the second series, it was like, we're either going to make it in 3 months or 15 months. And I was like, okay, that probably is something to do with Ramesh's availability. And that's the other thing, is that there's cast availability. There's so many factors, which is how it is like a miracle when anything gets made. Honestly.
Well, it's a hell of an achievement. 4 seasons of anything is pretty amazing. What happened at the end of that? Did you just not want to write about Meg anymore? Were you kind of done after 4, or would you have happily carried on, or how did it all kind of?
I was happy to carry on, but I think there'd been a change of guard at Channel 4, and I think they were just, when someone new comes in, I don't think it's necessarily that they're like, oh, I hate that, let's get rid of it. But they do want to kind of put their stamp on things, which is completely understandable. And again, it was like they were dragging their feet and they wouldn't let us know. And I kind of wanted to be able to make a decision just for everybody's sake.
Yeah.
It was a lot of people's livelihoods depending on that show coming back. And we just never got an answer, is the truth. And then eventually, like I think a year later, they were like, well, obviously it's a no.
It was inferred by the silence. Why have you not gone off and got yourself a different job?
It was inferred by the 12-month ghosting period.
Yeah.
But then they said, that was it, because they said they would make a decision in like, I don't know, like 2022 or something. And it was just something, there was some like mad sort of corporate response that it was like, dear sir or madam, thank you for your, it was so weird. But I think the truth was they didn't want to say like yes or no.
Didn't want to upset anyone.
Yeah, they didn't want to upset anyone. And so they didn't say anything at all. I also think that is generally how things go, is that you might just not hear. Wow. And that happens a lot with acting as well. Like you find out you haven't got a job when the credits roll.
Yeah.
On the show that you auditioned for. Wow. Guess I didn't get that then. So I don't know. The whole thing is mad. How anyone manages to do anything and stay sane, I honestly don't know.
Yeah. I think anyone we've talked to that is involved in getting their stuff made on TV or optioned or anything says exactly the same thing.
I worked on an HBO show. I had quite a senior position on an HBO show called Run, and it was the second series of Run, and I was the co-EP, which is quite, that's quite that's a good role. And we worked up the series in lockdown over Zoom in a very small writer's room. Amazing showrunner called Vicky Jones, who developed Fleabag with Phoebe. And then they just, after we'd been doing that for a while, just sort of went, actually, we've decided we're not going to make it. And I think it was to do with cast and COVID and just all, and I'd basically planned my whole life. I was like, I am now a showrunner on an HBO show.
Yeah.
And then it just disappeared. It just was, they were like, nope, actually we've decided we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, right, that's cool. So I'll go and do something else then, I suppose.
And what happens in those instances? Because presumably they're cutting you off in terms of the money as well. It's not like they're going to keep paying you for ages.
I think there was like a certain amount of weeks, and then it was like, when that period is up, then we'll do it again, and then we'll be going into this next period of, it was like stages of development, but they were talking about when and where we were going to be filming it and what the next year was going to be looking like. Because what you have to do in America is do a deal, and lawyers are involved, and it's like a whole thing. And you're like on the phone to your lawyer, and he's like talking to you about numbers and like.
And you're just ignoring them and flicking through Grazia.
Yeah. Is it work? Yes, I'll do it.
You're listening to the Failing Writers Podcast, a podcast about writing that never fails to amuse.
So are we still doing the impressions?
Yep.
So who was that then?
You got a guess?
Was it Nigella Lawson?
Close enough. Kirsty Allsop.
It's quite a hard life, isn't it, really? Is the acting and the sort of entertainment shows, are they just kind of a lot easier?
Oh my God.
Just turn up to them and do them. And
I mean, after
like fun. And
that is the thing, is that that was the amazing juxtaposition of like, I think I was maybe writing something and having a really awful experience while I was doing Taskmaster, and it was like, I'd be having like really horrible conversations with people telling me how terrible I am, and really it's sort of bullying, because it's hard not to take it personally, because you're like, those are my ideas and my my characters, and so like it's me really that you're attacking.
Yeah.
And then just like turning up at a weird house outside of London, opening an envelope in front of Alex Horne and like falling over, and it was just like, what a weird.
Oh yeah, falling off the stage.
Falling off the stage, all of that. Yeah,
that was a good series. That was brilliant.
Yeah, but that's a tonic when you're writing.
Yeah, I bet.
Is that stuff as much fun as it looks like?
Yeah.
Is it just easy breezy, turn up and
it's ridiculous that we're allowed to do that. But Taskmaster particularly.
Yeah.
I've talked about this on other things, but it's heaven. I mean, it is. Yeah. It's like a childish It's like, I mean, I am repeating myself here, but it is like it's your birthday and someone's set up like an amazing treasure hunt and it's a surprise. It's just so silly, and it makes you feel like a kid. Yeah. And it's just the best fun ever, to the point where I was like, I don't know how to get this back, this feeling. How do I have that experience again? Like you can with acting, be like, oh, I love acting, so I'll try and do more acting. But you can't be like, I love appearing in like really weird game shows where people give me challenges.
You've done all right for that sort of stuff, though, haven't you? You've been around the block on
How dare you?
Richard Osman's games and things and stuff like that.
I love it. Panel shows and game shows, absolute dream. Although I would say some of them do sort of require a bit of writing, actually.
Right.
That's an interesting sort of side of it, that not all of them, but some of them, like 8 out of 10 cats, not Cats Does Countdown, you can't prepare for that, but 8 out of 10 cats, there was quite a lot of material to prepare. That's where those two things kind of meet, really.
Yeah.
Because you get a pack with all the news stories and you just like try and think of some funny takes on them, which is a horrendous panic, actually. Like, I sort of love doing it once I got on it, but like the topical writing is very scary. I don't know how people do that.
Just because it's different, you mean? Because you've not really done that, or?
Yeah, but also it's like, there's a theme emerging here, but it's not having enough time. I really hate the feeling of not having enough time.
Yeah.
And just because if it's topical, it's happening yesterday. So you get the pack and then it's like, you need to have your material ready by tomorrow.
Wow.
And I guess some people don't mind being unprepared because they are confident enough that they know that they're just going to say something funny. Or if they're more stand-ups, which I'm not, then they will maybe already have some material because they've already done their Boris Johnson material that week or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Can we whip back way back and talk about Lady Garden and what that was like in the hall.
Sure.
What was the way into that?
Well, boring answer, university.
Right, okay.
Really.
Bunch of mates type thing.
Yeah, yes, sort of. I was doing a 4-year course and they were in 3rd year and I was in 4th year. So all my mates had left.
Right. But you were there legitimately. You weren't just hanging around.
I was there legitimately, yeah. I did English and drama at the University of Manchester. You do 2 degrees in 4 years, sure. And, horrendous. I don't know why I did that.
How does that sit well with someone that doesn't like having to do lots of stuff in a short amount of time?
In short periods of time. This must be where it all comes from.
Maybe it is. Maybe that's the root of it, yeah.
Yeah, I think you found it.
Like when you have those reoccurring nightmares of being in an exam.
It was awful, but I was also really desperate to get into comedy. So I'd already, as mentioned, been working in and around comedy production companies and stuff. But I discovered that there was a comedy night at the University of Manchester and so I went along to watch it and it was really good. And there was like Joe Lycett was doing a set and Jack Whitehall and then there was some people doing sketches and stuff and I was like, I want in. And then I had like a coffee with the girl who was running it, this girl called Eleanor Tom, who's now my dear friend. And we wrote a sketch together. And we'd never met each other and we started writing this sketch together. And it was just like immediate great comedy chemistry. We just like fell in love and that was that really. And then so we did a couple of comedy nights with lots of different people. And then what Eleanor did was take the 6 women from the show who had done sketches and say, do you want to form a band?
Cool. So it was like the Spice Girls, that kind of.
Yeah,
like
so she put us together. Yeah, she's in it as well.
Yeah.
In a kind of, like that Simon Fuller, putting like a pop group together. Yeah.
And did you take the show to Edinburgh as well?
I basically just sort of was along for the ride. We just were writing sketches that were so stupid that just made us laugh. We were just having the best time ever. We were so naive and there was nothing to lose. Nobody knew who we were.
That must have been a fantastic time. Yeah, no sort of pressure on, no one to...
nobody cared.
Yeah,
and also that was the great thing about there being 6 of us was that there was always an audience.
Well, yeah, it's quite a good little panel, isn't it, to funny check stuff?
Well, yeah. In a way, it was difficult because we had to write everything by committee. There'd always be a couple of people who were like, I think that's shit. But mostly... especially in the first year, we just were having such a great time. We were writing stuff that we knew our friends would find funny. So like our first sketch was a spoof of a physical theatre piece, like people are sort of like doing deep breathing and, like we were sort of parodying our own life at university. We made that up like in a sort of devised way, like we just like, you say that and then you say that. And like nobody had a pen and paper.
Oh, wow. And how were you making money? Were you making enough money to survive during that period?
God. It was really hard. I mean, we were all working day jobs and bar jobs, and that was the awful thing, was just like sinking 6 people's diaries to find a time when we could all rehearse and write. And that was always the first 20 minutes of every rehearsal was like everyone with their paper diaries out going like, what about Monday? 1 till... oh, no, I can't. I've got to...
That really is like a band.
Yeah, nobody had any money. We were so skint all the time. A couple of us were a bit less skint than others, shall we say, and were able to help out a bit.
Right, like a proper little collective.
We were. And then, we went up to Edinburgh. I don't know how on earth we afforded that. I think we just crammed into a tiny house that was quite far away from the festival. And then, and then we had Mick Perrin from Just for Laughs, who was a promoter, agreed to promote the show. And sometimes if you get like a nice promoter, I don't know if they do it anymore, but they would kind of like stump up the costs of like all your posters and your flyers and all of that stuff, and then you just kind of hope to recoup it later.
Oh, that must be like gold dust.
Yeah,
in that situation.
I don't know if there was a lot of goodwill. Actually, I think we had a lot of friends from university and a lot of favours were called in. And then I think we just drew attention because there was 6 women and nobody had seen that before. And it was pretty good, It wasn't rubbish, especially considering it was our first year. And I had been working in telly, so I had a few telly contacts that came down. And then by the end of that Edinburgh, which was our first ever Edinburgh, we'd signed to United Agents and we had a first look deal at the BBC. Mad.
Wow.
Mad.
That's the Edinburgh Festival dream, isn't it?
It is the dream. But of course, we eventually filmed a taster tape with the BBC.
And did anything come of that?
It was, I remember we got, I probably shouldn't say this, but we got £12,000 from the BBC to split between the six of us. This is just our money now to keep us going for the next year. And actually it did, you know. It was all of our train tickets because we couldn't get in a car because there were six of us. And then we got a residency at a theatre somewhere in Leicester or something. And so every month we somehow got to Leicester and did this residency. And then we started doing our own residency in London. And then that became a bit of a scene, I suppose, for sketch comedy. And there was lots of really good acts. I suppose, yeah. And then everyone was trying stuff out. And then you get like, you know, Nick Mohammed coming down to try new Mr. Swallow stuff. And then Diane Morgan and Joe Wilkinson were in a sketch troupe then, and there were all sorts of people now that I look back on and think, God, it was sort of a magical time.
So you're basically networking.
Yeah, I suppose so. Not on purpose, but we were all just trying stuff out and just making each other laugh, and it wasn't really competitive. Nobody knew where it was going. Nobody was really making any money. Nobody cared.
Kind of, but like you say, that kind of turns it into a level playing field when there's not some massive win, or you're not kind of trying to overtake someone else or win this off someone. If everyone's just there doing their thing because that's what they want to do, what a brilliant environment to be in, like creatively.
Yeah. Is it David Byrne who talks about the genius, not the genius? So like this idea that like a genius is like a lone wolf, you know, and actually every sort of cultural scene ever has always been a group of people doing something cool. Like, so it's this idea of like the genius, not the genius. I like that because I think people should commune to enjoy the thing that they enjoy together. And if they get better at it, then great. But I don't know that that's happening so much in comedy anymore. Maybe it's happening in stand-up.
Maybe it's just happening on TikTok.
Yeah, I think it is. But I don't know that people are you know, they're not like, we might be copying each other. There might be that sort of like mimetic thing going on, but I don't think people are getting to talk to each other and say, oh, I really liked that bit where, you know, and it's a shame, I think. And I hope it comes back.
Apart from in podcasts.
Yes.
Because that is very much a scene now, isn't it? People sharing ideas and stuff. I wanted to ask you actually, how do you find the time to do your Perfect Day podcast and your writing?
What do you mean?
Because this podcast just seems to eat up so much of our creative time.
Oh,
do you have people helping you with that?
Yeah, it's an AI generated Jessica.
I knew it. No. Does it not take up that much time?
Well, I suppose I do quite a lot of it remotely.
Yeah.
The thing is, I am so disciplined now because I've got kids as well, and I know that I really only have like 5 hours a day to work, and I just try and get as much done in those 5 hours as I possibly can. And the podcast, I probably will give an hour and a half of my time to it every week. Once a month, I'll go down to London and record some face-to-face in the studio, which is fun. Yeah. I like it. And what that gives me is an opportunity to write on the train.
Oh, I love writing on the train. I used to do a lot of that.
You're already doing something. Yeah. You're already doing something by sitting there, so it's a bonus. Nice. Isn't it, if you get anything done?
Yeah. And nobody's bothering you.
No one's bothering you.
It's lovely.
Apart from, unless people are eating loud. But I don't know. It is a lot to pack in, but I'm doing less than I used to because I had like a bit of a scattergun approach to writing. I've been sort of playing a bit of a numbers game for the last couple of years. I just had so many projects on the go, just desperately trying to get something away.
So and that might be, you might be on the edge of not having to do that anymore. God, let's hope so.
I think I might be, but I don't know. But whether I am or not, I have only been focusing on this one project for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So it does mean that in between drafts, you have got a bit of time. You send it off and then you're waiting for notes.
Yeah.
You're hoping it'll take them ages, actually, in a way. Because that's the good bit. When you've sent off, you've finished your homework, you've sent it off.
You can relax, put your feet up.
You can relax.
Maybe not relax.
With a question mark. You can a bit, can't you? Yeah.
But yeah, working on one thing, definitely a lot easier, because just getting into the mind space of that thing can take time. And I think if you're jumping all over the place, it'll take you a good half hour just to remember who the characters are. What I've also started to have to acknowledge is how mentally draining it is writing. Yeah.
I think I've always been one for just powering through. And now that I only have 5 hours a day, I actually think my writing's kind of improved, because it used to be that I'd be like, I just keep going and keep going and keep going. I don't care if it's 11 o'clock at night because I don't have to get up, or I'll just write till 10.
And the quality might not be as good at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, well, it's just, you definitely hit a wall, don't you? But when your day finishes at 3 p.m, whether you like it or not, there is no wall to hit. And it's not to say it's not tiring, but...
This is a weird question. Do you actually enjoy it?
I'm afraid I do now.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I'm afraid I do, and I know it's not a cool thing to say.
No, it's great.
I know it's supposed to be like, oh God,
such a struggle.
Oh, my heart hurts so much.
Yeah, and that's not to say I don't find it hard, but I do feel so lucky that it's my job now, and I just don't. I don't know. It's very cheesy, but I just don't take it for granted, and I just think I just can't believe my luck that I get to do it and I get paid to do it. And of all the things I do, to be able to just sit in my house and drink tea and tap away at my keyboard and come up with stupid characters and make them say stupid things I really do love
it is a wonderful thing.
I really do.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of our listeners would be very angry with you if you said the opposite, so that's good.
But it doesn't mean it's not hard.
Oh, of course not. Jessica Knappett, it's been absurdly lovely talking to you.
Oh, you too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For chatting to us. That's quite a nice place to end that, isn't it? That's a nice little positive nugget.
Yeah.
To our listeners.
Thank you.
We'll never be as successful as Jessica. We acquiesce to fester here unless we can address the mess of our own apathy. And be the best that a couple of goons can be. We gotta follow that success recipe and commit to the mess that is inevitably gonna be before we see any victory. Although, like she says, her success has been tested. She's gone and confessed that sometimes more is less. But let's hope that this next thing's a blessing instead, and addresses the pestering voices in her head. She's a guest that gets us. She's a joy, she's a jester. She did a bunch of semesters over there in Manchester, but we wish her all of the best. Thanks for joining us, Jess.
Well, wasn't she genuinely lovely?
She was lovely. So was your little song there, John. I enjoyed that. I like the country and western vibe you brought in for literally no reason.
I thought she'd like that. I don't know why I thought she'd like that.
Yeah,
it just occurred to me. I bet she'd like a little bit of country.
I like to see you as kind of like psychics that read people and stuff. I think you do it through the medium of song, don't you? You can tell their vibe. You can just spend a little bit of time with them, and then
that's my thing.
You know how it's going to sound.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I know exactly what they're going to love.
Absolutely beautiful.
Jessica, back off, bitch, nap it there. Yeah. Immortal and beautifully delivered line in the Inbetweeners movie. Check out Jessica's joyful podcast, Perfect Day. It's really nice, like a proper chill out listening. It's very funny. It's kind of, do you know what the word is, Tom? The word I would use is it's delightful.
Oh.
So comedians and celebs share what their perfect day would consist of and why. And you can imagine that being a nice thing. But yeah, I strongly advise you, have a listen to that. Thank you, Jess.
It did make us think, didn't it, speaking to Jess, about sitcoms and her writing of and what have you. It brought back some tortured memories of our sitcom writing days, John.
It did, yeah. Did you, because we were talking about this the other day, weren't we? We were talking about the fact that I took another look at our sitcom Poker Night.
You brave man.
Yeah. Kind of inspired by our chat with Jessica. I don't know why, really. Just out of interest and with the benefit of a bit of perspective, because it's been 2 years since we finished.
And that's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. It's weird. But yeah, so did you get a chance to have a little look at it too, Tom?
I did. I did.
What did you think? Because I know that I know that immediate in the aftermath, Tom, I think you came away from that whole thing feeling quite negative about it, but with a bit of objectivity.
I
you thought?
I agree with you, really. I think there's something in it, in my view. It had some interesting bits, and the overall narrative that we'd put in about kind of the idea that it was men really finding themselves.
Yeah.
Like almost like men that had gone into this kind of modern male culture and toxic masculinity and were kind of being forced to come out the other side.
Yeah.
Almost reborn into real people rather than model masculine men. And that was an interesting concept, actually.
Yeah, we talked about how the other day we were talking about how it's kind of pertinent to this particular moment in time as well, because we're kind of in this situation where men and women seem to be moving away from each other in terms of, I don't know, like politics and ideology or whatever. But the show is all about finding points of connection and, being open to other views.
And it had some really funny bits in it as well.
There's some genuinely funny bits in. Properly funny.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential in the script. I mean, it does. It needs more thought. It needs a bit of refinement. But it felt like reading it back, it's not a million miles away from actually being quite a good series. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. But did you also listen to the episode where we pitched it to Mr. Big Cheese, commissioning man at UK TV?
No, I couldn't. I physically couldn't.
You couldn't bring yourself to listen. But I'd forgotten that he'd actually said, I look forward to seeing it again when you've had another go at it.
Did he?
He genuinely actually said that. And it did make me think, do you know what? In the light of everything we've learned.
Yeah, maybe we should have a little dig around with it.
Yeah, would it kill us just to have just work up another sort of overview, an outline? I don't think we'd have to do that much to the script, weirdly.
Yeah. Maybe we should.
Vast amount.
I'm not committing to anything right now.
I can tell.
But, maybe we should.
You think, God, it's basically a finished sitcom. It probably just needs a few tweaks. And we need to listen back to what Rich said and probably kind of just have another little go at it. And you think, actually, that probably wouldn't take us very long. I don't know. It just seems a bit daft just to leave it when I think about it. When you think of all the hard work we put into it. And we really did put a lot of hard work into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did. It made me laugh out loud a few times.
No, they're good, strong characters as well.
It made me chortle.
Kind of fitting in with the different elements of that kind of male sphere and what have you. Yeah. No, it did have something going for it, I will admit.
Well, let's leave it there for now because we've got a lot on our plate at the moment.
Yeah.
But just maybe something for something, I don't know, a bit later down the line. It's not on our list of goals, is it, at the moment?
No.
But maybe we need to add it at a later point.
Well, we've finished all the other ones. Maybe we'll have loads of time left to do it.
Maybe. I'll tell you what, let's wrap it up there then. That's a nice place to end. We should once again thank our wonderful sponsor, Scrivener.
Thank you, Scrivener.
Thank you.
So join us next time out for another Failing Writers podcast where we shall try and somehow squeeze ourselves out the quicksand of failure and head for the pastures of success.
Yes.
Yeah.
Easy.
We'll do that.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Take care, keep writing, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
Can I ask one little question? Let's turn on our imaginations and think question. Because you got into all this before you even really had chance to have a proper job, because we're not counting working in TV as a proper job, I don't think, are we? What would you be doing, do you think, if you weren't sat drinking tea and writing?
It's a very good question. I am going to just correct you because I did have absolutely loads of proper jobs. I mean, they weren't proper jobs, but I have had many jobs, including drama teacher, vending machine assistant, including promotional worker dressed as a mobile phone.
Right, yeah.
I even had a dabble at being... oh no, it's such a weird thing to say, but I tried to become a massage therapist, but I freaked out because then I realised I had to just be in rooms with naked people.
Sweaty people.
I liked the idea of it, and then when it came down to the reality of it, I was like, this is so weird.
Oh, actually, touch with my hand. Touch. Not sure about that.
Sorry, no. I'm out.
So you think your career would have been in dressing up in various marketing gimmicks for different. That would have been the.
Yes, I'd still be doing that. I do think about this all the time because sometimes I'm like, maybe it's cult leader if this all goes tits up. Because I just feel like we're due. I feel like we're due a new religion, and because it's gone, hasn't it? Really, I mean, no offense to people listening who are religious, but I just think we're absolutely due. And mine would be nice because I'm all right.
Less worry.
Like less worry, more matriarchal. I don't even have to take all the money. I can just have some of
just
it.
most of it.
Just
You've
most
thought
of
about
it.
this, haven't you?
I've really thought about it. It's either that or I also really like psychology. So I would have been. I nearly did psychology and wanted to be a psychologist.
Right.
But I didn't.
That very much weaves into the cult thing as well, doesn't it? There's a big crossover there between bending people to your will and
good for manipulation, isn't
understanding the inner workings of the human mind. Yeah, totally.
There's always time as well, isn't there?
Yeah, it's never too late to start a cult.
Yeah, it's never too late. It's never too late.
Hello?
Where's everybody gone?